What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video today. I want to react to a mock draft that's made its way around Twitter a little bit, something that a lot of Colts fans are reacting to and not reacting very kindly to. When I went in and looked at it, I completely understand. When you look at this draft, it was from PFF, and PFF, they had one person represent every team. So the Colts representative in this one was Ben Stockwell, something like that. I don't know if you might have heard of any of the names. Okay, I feel like I do a pretty good job of paying attention to different NFL media. I've never heard of any of the people doing it, but they work with PFF. PFF has been widely criticized, especially on this channel. Not the biggest fan of PFF, which is kind of why, it's not a surprise people are reacting a certain way to this. But when you look at it, the big thing here is that they had the Colts trading back, and not only trading back in the first, we've talked about the potential of the Colts possibly trading back in the first round. But in this one, they have the Colts trading all the way back to pick 29, where you end up with the Lions going up to 15 and drafting Kenyon Mitchell. Now, there's some weird stuff in this mock draft, right? Just kind of going through this first round. The Broncos trade up to number 3 to take Jaden Daniels. At number 2, it's Drake May instead of Jaden Daniels. Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors go 4 and 5. Roma Dunze goes 6. And instead of Dallas Turner going to the Falcons like everybody thinks, they had Letu going to the Falcons at number 8, right? J.J. McCarthy goes to the Raiders at number 9. Terrion Arnold goes to the Vikings at 11. Instead of them drafting a quarterback, Patriots draft Michael Penix Jr. and it was number 12 in the first round. Brian Thomas goes 13. Okay, this is a very interesting draft. Okay, Seahawks, Dallas Turner at the 16th pick. Cooper DeJean goes 17 to the Jaguars. Like, this is a wild draft. I don't know what these people were thinking. I feel like they, maybe doing a little bit of engagement farming with this one, knowing that they were going to do some crazy stuff and have some stuff happen that people were going to want to talk about. But in this one, the Colts get Peyton Wilson with the 29th pick, linebacker from North Carolina State. And when you look at this, the Colts receive picks 29, 61, and a 2025 third round pick for 15 and 117. If that's the trade that happens, then nah, get Ballard out of there. Nah, what are we doing? Okay, and Chris Ballard would never do that. He would require more to go up to number 15 in this particular draft. 15 is still a really, really good pick in this draft. Okay, it's not like that every year, but it is this year. So got to get more draft capital than that. Peyton Wilson is very good. He had a 90 plus coverage grade and had 3 interceptions with 4 forced incompletions in his last season at NC State. So, yeah, he'd be a really good pick. But for everything that we've talked about, for everything that we know we want, everything we know we need, like, we just don't need that in the first round. You know what I mean? Not a linebacker. We've talked about plenty of times going through different mock drafts. Like, yes, the Colts need at some point need to get a linebacker, specifically one that they know can come in and cover. Okay, somebody that can play decently well in coverage, right? In the NFL, you're going to be able to get your hands on guys and coach guys a certain way. Gotta get a guy who's like his specialty is coverage. Need a linebacker like that on the team, right? And it wouldn't even be an immediate need. When we are talking about this, it's not an immediate need. You have 2 guys that you paid very recently. So I just think for the Colts, that would be a terrible trade down and a terrible pick for the Colts at that point. Now, second round, it does get a little better, where at 46, the Colts take Xavier Legette. We've talked about that plenty of times. That would be a good wideout for the Colts to get. I think he's going to be good in the NFL. And I think if the Colts were able to get him, it had an explosive element, right? He had 33 receptions of 15 plus yards, which was tied for the 6th most among all FBS wideouts in 2023. Okay, and then with number 61 pick, the one that they get from the Lions in the deal. This is where we get interior defensive lineman Chris Jenkins from Michigan, somebody who's played some of the best competition in college football over the last couple of years and is able to have an impact as a rusher, right? A pass rusher from the middle. He had a career high 11% pass rush win rate in 2023. So this is a guy that could be one of those things, right? We've talked about even after the signings, going ahead getting another defensive tackle in a draft at some point later in the draft. If you do, it's got to be a little later in the draft. Somebody that has the potential and can learn some stuff from DeForest Buckner and learn some stuff from Grover Stewart, kind of get the best of both worlds. And when it's his turn, he'll be able to come in and perform. That's at least the thought process in my mind, going through it. And I think at that point it'd be a good pick for the Colts. Okay, then you go into the third round, and in this one, this is where another iffy round. The rest of this draft is kind of iffy, honestly. Pick 82, the Colts take guard Mason McCormick from South Dakota State, somebody that should be really good. Okay, he went to a smaller school, right? FCS champions, back-to-back years, but it is the FCS, not the FBS. So even though he's been really good where he's at, it's going against lesser opponents. So we'll see, what his potential is in the NFL. But I just feel like at 82, you could do something different, right? You don't necessarily need to go unless they know what they want to do at center going forward, and it's not Ryan Kelly. Like, I just feel like for interior offensive line, you might be able to find something later in the draft that you can get to fill that spot. I don't know at this point if you're really trying to get cornerstone guys, and is Mason McCormick gonna be that? I'm just not sure of that, to be completely honest with you. Okay, but then in the fourth round of this thing, Colts get no picks. But then in the fifth round, the Colts take somebody at 151 that I think in 3 of my mock drafts, if I'm not mistaken, 3, maybe even more of them, but somebody very popular in my mock drafts this year at the exact same pick 151. Safety, Kid Oladipo from Oregon State, somebody that has an athletic profile that could fit or roll on this team again, like a Ronnie Harrison, somebody that could be in the box, somebody that can be a little rangy. He would have to learn in the NFL, but getting him as a depth piece for what we need to get depth. We're already young at the position. Go get Kit Oladipo, bring him in the fifth round, somebody that in the future could be a difference maker on the team. Okay, and then the rest of these guys, 191, it's defensive end, Jalex Hunt, pick 234, safety, Isaiah Stalbert from South Dakota State. So again, not the greatest draft for the Colts. If this is how we came out of the draft, I'd be very disappointed from everything we've looked at. If this was our draft, I'd be so disappointed. So hopefully this isn't it. I'd like to know your opinion about this one. I've seen people's opinions on Twitter, but you let me know what you're thinking down in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe with notifications on so you get notified anytime any of these videos do come out. Of course, I appreciate you joining me for another video. As always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.